Okay, we'll make a slow start just for the people who are running a bit late. But just let everyone know, first of all, I'm going to record the webinar just to make sure that I can send it on to anyone who couldn't attend. A couple of people have already mailed to say they couldn't make it for various reasons. So just to let everyone know that. So we'll make a start. And then as the webinar goes on, we're going to go through some questions that we've populated from our audience, and Sam and I have come up with. But obviously, if you have any questions, if you could write them in the chat on Zoom, and then we can come to those at the end rather than stop starting. So just feel free to write them in the chat, and then we'll come to them at the end. Just go to Nicola. Okay, so we'll start with introductions. Sam, if you'd like to go first.
Good morning. I am Sam. I am the owner of Penny Bookkeeping Services. I'm an AAT qualified accountant, and hopefully I will be here to answer some of your questions on your accounts today.
Great stuff. And yeah, I'm James. I'm the digital marketing manager at LoveAdmin. For those of you who don't know what LoveAdmin do, we work with over 1,000 organizations, dance studios, gymnastics clubs, drama clubs, cheerleading clubs, to help them save time by reducing their admin effectively. Right, so on we go. As mentioned, any questions that come to mind as we touch on various subjects, please put them in the chat, and then we can address them at the end and really pick Sam's brains, put her through the mill. But without further ado, the first thing we wanted to tackle, because we thought it was quite apt to a lot of you, is expenses, and what is allowed and what isn't. So take it away, Sam.
So just to give you a little bit of background on me as well, I know that I probably should have done this a second ago, but I am not only an accountant, but I do own my own dance school as well. So I have like the best of both worlds, in my opinion. So yeah, I have my own school in my area. It's not a massive school now, but it's just something that I do as a hobby. I find the balance between having my accountancy firm and then having the dance school just is so good for my head. So yeah, that I do specialise in the arts and in dance schools. Okay, so expenses. So I'm going to take this from obviously an arts point of view, but in kind of a broad way. So if there's anything and you're not 100% sure, if it's something specific, do pop it in the comments. Pop all your questions in the comments, and I will try to answer them as when I can. So expenses. So we can take this from an arts point of view. So a lot of you will probably hire halls out. So things like that can go through as an expense. A lot of you will probably have studios. So obviously things like all of your heat and electricity, all of those payments can go through as well. A lot of people ask me about memberships. So I'm a member of the ISTD for dancing, and a lot of people ask me if they can put their memberships through. That's a yes, that's a business expense. So if you're a member of one of your exam boards, that can go through as an expense. Things like music as well. I pay for Spotify, and obviously I use it for personal, but I mostly use it for business, so that can go through. iTunes as well. If it's business related, it can go through. I'm going to be reading these questions as I go through. I'll read them afterwards. Then we have things like, from a dance school point of view, to be fair, from probably cheerleading and gymnastics as well, we have shows and probably exams, little bits and pieces like that as well. With shows and exams, a lot of people have like a separate bank account where all of the fees come in, and then they basically go straight back out again to the exam board. So they can all go through as well. Yeah, maybe having a separate account for your show and exam expenses is a super good idea. Then we have, so obviously a lot of you guys are going to be probably working at home at the moment. So if you have your own house or your own flat, and you work in a room, then you can claim for a percentage of your heating bills, lighting bills, telephone and broadband and water as well, actually. So for instance, say that this is, I'm in my office, but say I'm at home and I am, I use one room, and I probably use like 20% of the time is business use. Okay, so I'm doing work during the day, and I would say that 20%, it's only an estimate, you can estimate whatever you want it to be. So yeah, say I had a telephone bill for £100, and like I just said, 20% of that time is business use, so then I can put £20 through my accounts. Okay, exactly the same with all of the heating and lighting and all of those aspects as well. Okay, someone has just mentioned about cars as well. If you have a car as a business asset, you can put through all of your expenses such as car tax, insurance, petrol, any wear and tear, say you need something repairing, those can all go through as well. If you use a private car, then you can put through mileage, which is usually at 45p. So you just have to work out what your mileage is going from your different halls, if that's how you work, sort of thing. Okay. So yeah, let's just have a look at that question. How do I calculate how much I can add as an expense? That's Elaine, that's a bit of a broad question, if I'm honest. Do you have your own car that you use for to go around to different halls, or how do you mean as an expense on there?
Yeah, so it's my own car, but I use it for obviously going to dancing.
Okay.
To teach, and I didn't know how to kind of work out what percentage that would be. Same with like the heating and lights and things. Is there like a formula, or do you just do a kind of guesstimate?
Yeah, I mean, it is just a guess, but obviously it has to be sort of a like an honest guess, if that makes sense. You can't just put through 80% and you're only using the office for 2 hours a day or something like that. So yeah, it is just a guesstimate at the end of the day, but an honest guess, if that makes sense. And then yeah, from the car point of view, you can actually only claim mileage between halls. You can't claim from your house to a hall, to a hall, to a house, back to your house, if that makes sense. You can only claim between the halls that you go to. So if you just go to one hall, you can't claim for that. Okay, does that make sense? And then the mileage rate is 45p. Is that okay? That lovely. I think that's probably about it on the expense side of things. Like I said, if there's like a specific expense and you're a bit unsure if you can claim it, just pop it in the comments and I'll have a look at it. But I think that's probably, from a broad aspect, that's probably it on expenses at the moment.
Super, thanks, Sam.
Right.
So sole trader or limited company, how might people decide, or what factors might they include when choosing how to set themselves up?
Right. Sorry, I've just seen another question. We should have done questions at the end because I'm all over the place.
Yeah, we can pause the questions until the end if you like, just so we're mindful of time. And any questions that we don't get to until by the end, then we'll try and address them individually. So don't worry, guys. I'll make a note of all the questions.
Thank you. Right, I'll minimise that then because I'll keep looking at it otherwise.
I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, thank you. Again, this is a very sort of a broad question, but a lot of the people and a lot of the way that you guys work, you're probably more than likely going to be a subcontractor working for a dance school or a gymnastics school or a cheerleading school. Okay, so in that sense, if you're just a one person, one man, one woman band, just going around and just subcontracting yourself out to these places, there's absolutely no point in you being a limited company. Okay, so from a tax point of view, if you're earning, it's whether you're earning over a certain amount of money for you to even consider becoming a limited company. So like I said, my dance school is quite small and I that's a sole trade to me. I don't get a mass amount of income for that, but there's no point in it being a limited company because I'd have to pay 19% of tax on my profits, where at the moment it's definitely under the radar of personal allowance and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so a lot of you will probably be well under that threshold, your personal allowance. Even if you're over it, there's still, I would say there's still absolutely no point in being a limited company. So the difference between a sole trade and a limited company is liability, okay? So with a sole trade, you're personally liable. This is worst case scenario. You're personally liable if anything happens in that company, okay? So again, worst case scenario. If something were to happen, they can come after you, your house, your car, sort of whatever assets you've got, okay? With a limited company, it's only, the liability is within the company, okay? They can only go after company assets, and yeah, so that's the difference between the two. This kind of rolls into VAT as well. So I don't really know where you guys are in respect of what your profits are, what your turnover is, and bits and pieces like that. So again, very broad, but sorry.
I was going to ask Sam, is there like a sweet spot where you should be considering moving across to a limited company, 50,000,
well,
60,000?
They say it's when you reach about 30 to 40,000 pound profits. That's where the tax efficiency starts going, with a limited company. So, but again, there's so many other aspects to it. One of them being VAT, okay, which I know is a later slide, but I don't know if I want to touch on this yet. Perhaps I'll wait for the VAT slides in a second. But no, it's definitely something that I think if you are near that 30 to 40,000 pounds sort of profit area, maybe start having a look and a chat with your accountant and just seeing if they think it's more tax efficient for you to become a limited company. So yeah, I think hopefully that makes sense. It's just such a complicated area, but like I said, I think a lot of you probably are sole traders, and you're probably best off being sole traders for the moment while you're small, and then if you do grow, it's something to look into. Okay,
that makes sense. So yeah, moving on to VAT, should I be VAT registered?
So VAT registration is such a horrible area. But so we all know or hopefully we all know that when your turnover reaches 85,000, you should technically become VAT registered. Okay, they're the overall rules. But as a sole trade dance teacher, okay, let's just take me for instance. If I take the classes myself, okay, this is only if you're a sole trader, not if you're a limited company. I'll come to that in a minute. So if you're a sole trader and you take the classes yourself, those classes are VAT exempt, basically. They don't go towards the VAT registration threshold. If you have got subcontractors that work for you or employees that work for you, it is only their income from their classes as such that they teach that goes towards that VAT threshold. Okay, so my classes might add up to 75 grand like turnover, and then theirs might add up to 10, but because mine's 75 and theirs is only 10, I wouldn't have to register for VAT. So I think the moral of the story here is if you're near that VAT threshold and you are a sole trader and you take most of the classes, but you do have teachers, you need to split that income. So if revenue and customs do ever say anything, you can say, these are the classes I teach, and this is what my subcontractors teach, okay? If you're a limited company, it's completely different, okay? So if you're a limited company, everything is vatable, okay? So as soon as you reach that 85 grand threshold, then you have to become VAT registered. Okay, so again, that's what it is in a broad sense. You might have specific circumstances for your schools, but yeah, that's what the rules are at the moment. So again, that kind of filters into that would be tax planning. So if you're thinking of becoming a limited company, just consider those VAT thresholds as well.
Thanks, Sam. Next question that we came up with was, can you explain the making tax digital changes coming in 2024? Because I think there's been a lot of noise about these, and it looks like they'll finally come into effect in 2024. So perhaps you could shed some light on that for us, Sam.
I feel like I'm giving people lots of information.
That's what they're here for.
they'll be like, oh my God, what did she say after all that? Yeah, so making tax digital, I mean, they've been talking about this for quite a long time now. I mean, I think it was limited companies obviously have to do some with that are VAT registered. They were then trying to get limited companies, all limited companies, to do making tax digital. And then they obviously want the sole traders to as well. But the times have changed from 2021 to 2022 to 2023, and now it's 2024. So it's just such an ongoing thing, and obviously COVID hasn't helped. So making tax digital, it's basically just having your records online on accounting software. Okay, that's I made that sound very easy, but that's what it is. So a lot of people, and I still have it now with my clients, they bring in the bags of paperwork, and then we just go through and we stick everything onto like an Excel spreadsheet. So even we have to move away from spreadsheets, which I'm very sad about. So yeah, but a lot of our clients now, we use Xero here, so we put a lot of our client stuff now just onto Xero straight away. So it's just a case of having a look around at accounting software and moving from manual records into the world of online accounting software. Okay, because eventually Revenue and Customs will make you submit data on I want to say it's a 3 or 4 monthly basis, but on a lot more of a regular basis than what you guys do it now. A lot of you probably just do it once a year because you have to, because your tax return is due. But yes, this is basically forcing you to send your data on a more regular basis, and then Revenue and Customs will ask for money on a more regular basis as well. So it's just so that obviously it's just for Revenue and Customs to get more money in more regularly. So but what I would say is to have, even though it's 2024, start having a look around now at accounting software, okay? Because I feel like it's really important for you not to get to that stage where it is April 2024 and you're like, oh my God, I haven't done anything about it. And yeah, so start having a look around. We use we're Xero partners, and I absolutely love Xero, but we have clients on Xero, QuickBooks, Cashflow, Free Agent, Wave. So there's lots of different ones, but they do suit different businesses, if that makes sense. So we use Xero for most of our clients, but then you have ones like Wave, which are for smaller schools probably, Xero and Sage as well, probably for bigger schools. So yeah, have a look around and see what suits you, but start doing it now rather than leaving it till last minute, because it's something that you can implement now, basically, for the future.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, I think that while of course sending money more regularly to HMRC might on one hand is a bad thing, on the other hand it give you more visibility of what's going on in your business.
That's
I guess,
it.
and
yeah, so
more of a health check.
Yeah, so I said that I feel like it's super important, because a lot of people probably don't know. Like if I ask them now what their profits are for their business, they wouldn't have a clue. But if everything's more updated more often, you'll have better knowledge of the position of your business and how you can make it better. So I feel like it's a really good thing to start having a look into, definitely.
Yeah, not to swear anyone, but Xero will be the first accounting software that LoveAdmin looks to integrate with as well. So just slide that in there. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Should I be worried about IR35? So I guess maybe a brief explanation of what that is, Sam, and then just a top line of whether it should be something that people should be concerned about, because I think there's been some scaremongering about it.
Yes, and I don't think this probably applies to a lot of dance schools, a lot of cheerleading schools or gymnastics or anything like that, because I feel like a lot of the people, again, if you're a subcontractor, you do probably tend to work for more than one place. Okay, there is on the Revenue and Customs website, there is like a little form that you can fill in to see if you should be worried about IR35. But if you're working for more than one place, then, which a lot of you guys probably are, and on a regular basis as well, which again, a lot of you probably go for like a few hours a day just to go and teach classes. So I really don't think it's something that dance teachers need to think about. But if it is something that you're unsure about, then do head to the Revenue Customs website to have a look. Yeah, I just don't think, because you're either going to be, like I said, a subcontractor that does go round, and you probably work for more than one school, or a lot of places now are employing people as well. So yeah, I'm going to say it's a no, but if you're unsure, then do check the Revenue and Customs website just to have a look at it.
Thank you, Sam. Employees, help with payroll schemes, ?
Yeah, so this kind of fits in quite nicely with the last slide. So again, like I've said numerous times now, a lot of you guys are going to be subcontractors, because you're not always working in that same one place. So it's not like coming to an office and doing a 9-to-5 job on a daily basis. You'll probably be going around to different schools. Even if you work at the same school, you're not necessarily going to be an employee. I have just had it with it's actually my best friend's dance school, and she has just taken on a couple of her dance teachers, and we've done it so that she set up a payroll scheme, so they're actually on the payroll now. But she only wanted to do that so that they had a bit more security. They know sort of they're going to get a pay slip, and obviously having a employment job is good for things like mortgages and things like that. But again, they only work, I think one of the girls works Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but only in the evenings. But she's obviously got a contract now, so it secures that job a little bit more, I think, if you are employed. There's no right or wrong answer here for if you should be employed or self-employed. If you're working for a school for like I said, like a 9-to-5 every single day of the week, then you should technically be employed. But if it is something that you might want to talk to your studios about, they, like I said, from a security point of view, it is a good thing to have, but a lot of people find it easier just sending an invoice in and then getting paid. So yeah, do have a chat with your employer though, if it is something that you want to look into. But again, there's no right or wrong answer here for that one. You can either be a subcontractor or you can be employed. So it depends what you want individually, okay, as a person.
The COVID support schemes, obviously there's a myriad of these, and hopefully, well, won't talk about it too much, but do I need to declare these?
Yes, short answer is yes. So these COVID support schemes are, so Revenue and Customs know exactly how much you've taken in these schemes, okay? So this is only the self-employment incentive scheme, okay? All of the grants and all bits and pieces like that, if you've got those, then they should also be included in your accounts, which hopefully you've been directed to do by your accountant. But these, I've found with these support schemes, that people haven't been I say people, my clients haven't been telling me how much they have received. The Revenue and Customs know exactly how much you've had, and if you don't, for instance, if my client didn't tell me and then I didn't declare it on the tax return, Revenue and Customs know how much it is and they'll add it to your tax return. Okay, so the long and short of it is that they do need to be declared. Okay, it's done on the dates. So if we're working for the last tax year up to 5th of April 2021, it's only so you need to know the date that the money came in and the amount that you've received, and then send that to your accountant and they'll put it in, or yes, put it into your tax return. Okay, so it does definitely need to go in, and Revenue and Customs will know if you haven't put it in.
They always know. They always know. Okay.
They always know, yeah.
Any questions? Any questions? I've got a few here. Well, just a couple. Going on from Elaine's question about expenses, Nicola was wondering, if you travel to a course, can you claim the mileage on that? Would that be classified as a sole business expense?
Yeah, that's fine, because it's something that you're not doing on a sort of day-to-day basis. So that's absolutely fine if you're going to a course and then coming back again. Yeah, if it's not like something that, like I said, that you do day to day, then that's absolutely fine. That's not a problem.
Nicholas says thank you. If anyone else has any other questions, please put them in the chat. Tracy, we kind of touched on this, but she asked whether you have a preferred accounting software, and it seems like your allegiance is with Xero.
Yeah, we are. I do really like Xero. I find it, and not just from my point of view, but I find that clients, because a lot of clients obviously aren't accountancy minded, and it's just easy to use, I think, if you're not accountancy minded. So that's definitely my preferred one. I use I've got a couple of clients on QuickBooks as well, but I just find it, although I know what I'm doing with it, it's just so all over the place. So yeah, I like the ones that are user friendly as such, and I find that Xero is the one that is just easy for everyone to use.
That makes sense. Yeah, user friendly is best, especially with accounting and tax, I think.
Yeah.
Another good question from Elaine, who asks, collecting uniform, is that allowed as a mileage claim? You're going to collect it.
Yeah, is that in as you buy the uniform and then sell it back out again, Elaine?
I wonder whether I can unmute Elaine if she likes. I mean, it sounds like just yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Collecting uniform, is that allowed as a mileage claim? I thought you meant as an expense then. Yes, I think that is absolutely fine as well. Like I said, if it's not in like your day-to-day routine, so obviously with going to dance studios, that's something that you're going to do on a daily, weekly basis. So that's something that's day-to-day, whereas going out and doing uniforms is something that is only going to be done once in a while. So yeah, that's absolutely fine.
I think we talked about previously your memberships and things like that. Can those are expenses as well, are they?
Yeah. So the memberships can all go through as well. Yeah, that's all good.
Great.
I did just want to touch. Sorry, I just want to touch on Xero again, and I keep going on about it. If anyone wanted to do you can do a trial of Xero. I think you can do a trial of all of them, to be fair. But yeah, if you wanted to do a trial, there's a 30-day trial on obviously on Xero, and then we actually have because we're partners, we have like a discounted rate. So if anyone is interested in doing it, do have a look at it and get the trial, but then cancel it and then email me, and then you can do it through me, if that makes sense. So it's like a discounted rate. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there.
That makes sense. This is a more complex question, perhaps, from Nikita, who says, should I register for VAT if the company registered as a CIC, community interest company?
CICs are a very complicated area, and CICs and limited companies, although they are seen as different, they're not actually like, there's not as much difference as if it was a limited company and a charity, if that makes sense. So I don't know, people always seem to think that if they're a CIC, I've just had this with another client actually, and because they do like charitable activities, they didn't think that they had to pay corporation tax, but they do. So the same rules apply. So if you're, I would say, it depends what you're doing, Nikita, as well. I'm not 100% sure what you're doing. And it's probably something that I'd have to look into, but from a general point of view, the answer would probably be yes.
Nikita says that they're a gymnastics club. They're presumably an owner or a manager of a gymnastics club.
Yeah, I still think it would be yes, if I'm honest. I will have a look into it and double check. But yeah, the differences between the two aren't that different. So unless it's educational, it wouldn't. You would still have to register for VAT.
All right. Just mindful of time as we are approaching our limit. So unless anyone has any final questions, Nikita says thank you very much. I'll begin to wrap things up. But of course, if you have any, if you want to speak to Sam directly, if you search Infra Penny bookkeeping services, I think is it ifae.co.uk, Sam, your website?
Yeah, you can email me. I'll put my email in the chat actually, and then just directly email me if you need me.
Brilliant. And if any of you
I
guys,
think
go on.
Hold on, no, I just directed. I DM'd Elaine.
Oh, lucky Elaine. And then
There you go.
there's Sam's email address. Yeah, for any further accounting questions, can you drop Sam an email?
Yeah, just send me an email and I'll help you as soon as I can. Obviously, this is a bit of our busy period now, but I will answer you as soon as I can.
And if anyone wants to find out more about LoveAdmin, those of you who are on the call who aren't customers, of course, just visit loveadmin.com. We can give you a free demo of the software and show you how you can reduce your admin by up to 80%. But thank you very much for everyone attending. I really appreciate it. I know it's a funny time of year to do an accounting webinar, so I'm very delighted that people turned up, and thanks to Sam for her expertise as well.
Thank you for having me.
But yeah, I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and have a good one, guys. Thank you very much.
Happy Christmas, guys.